Going live. I think I'm live. This is the first time I've done this. This is a live stream on the Risky Scientists YouTube channel. And I'm going to reveal the politicians I have booked to speak with on this channel this month. And some possibles. And in fact, we might even discuss what's happening next month. So I am interested to see if anybody has any ideas about what questions they think I should be asking. And in fact, you do not need to be live with me to ask those questions. I will allow comments on this video when it is posted for replay. So you can post questions for the politician interviewees I've got this month in the comments section. And then I'll probably do a reveal next month of who I have confirmed for November. So we're talking about October. I'm going to be interviewing 3 party leaders in this month, October. At least 3. Like those are confirmed party leaders. Let's just see if we can get any questions going. Okay, so let me talk about what we've got confirmed for October. So Risky Scientists will be interviewing. What order shall I do this in? I've got 3 party leaders. If I put one first, somebody's going to read something into this. Let's say, let's go alphabetical. So first name alphabetical. Okay. So actually, this is also the first party leader of the 3 I'll be interviewing chronologically. So the first one is going to be Ben Habib of Advance UK. Right, that is Britain's newest party. I will actually be interviewing him next week. It will not be live, but I will be posting it certainly next week. So Ben Habib, Advance UK next week. Now I have questions for Ben. Ben and I have actually spoken before, by the way, and I should say that because some of you may be thinking I am being too familiar by using his first name, but he and I have spoken before, so we have established first name terms. Just to be clear, right? So Ben and Bruce will be speaking about Advance UK and the issues of the country next week. And I will be posting that video sometime next week. It will not be live. I will be editing it. Hopefully not editing the middle content, just editing front and back matter. I do not, by the way, censor the videos I put out. I edit out transitions, dead air, stuff like that. I do not edit out any of the content, even if the interviewees request it. So I will not agree to that in making these arrangements for interviewing. And that reminds me, I should say also that I do not share the questions that I prepare in advance of the interview. So the interviewee has a general idea about what I want to talk about, and in Ben Habib's case, it's as simple as politics, current events, and what Advance UK is offering as solutions to these issues. And otherwise, I do not share questions, just so that everybody knows. These interviews are not scripted, and the questions are not agreed in advance with the interviewee. Right, so Ben Habib, right, first, so that's the first reveal. Ben Habib, Advance UK. Start putting your questions in the chat. or the comments if you are watching this later than the live stream. Ben Habib, questions for him. You've got a week before I speak to him. Okay, so Ben Habib. Right, second party leader, I will confirm that I will be speaking to this month is Laurence Fox of Reclaim. Laurence Fox and I have spoken publicly before. Ben Habib and I have spoken, but we've spoken privately about politics. Laurence Fox, I have interviewed on this channel before. That was 4 years ago. So he and I, Loza, as he likes to be known, I actually don't call him Loza, but I'm on first name terms with Ben. I had to clarify that. Loza, I'm on first name terms with Loza, but I actually don't call him Loza. Laurence. I'd actually be interested to call him Foxy, but Carl Fox of the SBS has appropriated that nickname. I don't know if Laurence Fox can be Foxy. I'll ask him. That's a good idea. I'll ask him. Have you ever been known as Foxy? He knows himself. He privately knows himself as Loza. I will not be calling him Loza. I have not called him Loza. I will not be calling him Loza. Laurence Fox, right? The Reclaim Party. So I'll be talking to him about the issues that he sees today and an update on what the party is doing. I'm actually not sure. Laurence and I do talk, just so everybody knows, we do talk about policy issues. Sometimes I'm not an official advisor. He follows some of my writings, but I am not. I'm actually not a member of that party, and I have no obligations to the party or to Laurence. And again, as with Ben Habib, I will not be sharing my questions in advance, but it will be a friendly interview, the same as last time, 4 years ago. So Laurence Fox, I'm looking forward to that because Laurence is a lot of fun. Ben Habib is a lot of fun too. He does not hold back. He's got a lot of passion about British politics, and he's very talkative. Laurence Fox is fun in a different way. He likes to satirize and make fun of the opposition, and he does it in a way that amuses me, and he'll be bringing that to the interview for sure. Okay, so Laurence Fox will actually be following Ben Habib, so we are still in chronological order here. I actually realise I've just gone out of alphabetical order. So the third name, no, I'm not. No. If we're going with first names, that's right. So I'm actually in alphabetical order. I have obeyed my promise. So the third name in alphabetical order is William Clouston. This month, I'll be interviewing William Clouston of SDP, the Social Democratic Party. William and I have spoken before too on this channel 4 years ago. I interviewed William. Really nice guy. Super nice guy. I said to him on the channel, I appreciated a lot of what he was sharing, the positions he had taken, and I appreciate his earnestness. Any of you who are following him on Twitter, he is a very thoughtful and earnest commentator on British politics in a way that is not typical of party leaders or British politicians in general. He is authentic, and he can be fun too on Twitter. He will satirize and point out the ridiculousness of his political opponents too. So I recommend his Twitter feed. William Clouston, SDP. So 3 party political leaders. I will also be interviewing a politician you have all heard of, who is not a party leader, but he would be a good one. Maybe I'll ask him why he is not a party leader and I'll ask him what his receptivity is to being a party leader. So that is going to be Douglas Carswell. Douglas Carswell, former Conservative MP, defector to the Brexit Party. no longer in Parliament, in fact, no longer in Britain. So he, like me, is an American person now. I actually don't know if he's naturalized. I don't think he's naturalized. I'll ask him that. I think, but he's still an American person, so he's a legal resident of the United States, the same as me. So he's an American person and a British person, the same as me. So he's in Mississippi. He leads a think tank in Mississippi, and he has been producing the most specified legal uh, plans for the reform of Britain that I've seen anywhere. He is not beating about the bush about what reforms Britain needs institutionally and legally, judicially, constitutionally, which segues into what he and I will be talking about. So Douglas Carswell. Douglas Carswell, just clarifying because somebody just joined. Douglas and I will be talking about reforming the British Constitution. So I'll be asking him questions such as, does Britain need a constitutional text like the United States constitutional text, or should it continue with a loose collection of statutes and principles and even case law? If you've read anything by me, you can imagine where I am on that, but I don't actually know what Douglas's position will be on a single constitutional text. This is not something he and I discussed in advance. I am genuinely curious what his positions will be, and I'm genuinely curious what he will persuade me of. But I've drawn up a list of subjects, and I've shared with him these subjects. They're not questions; these are topics for discussion. So I've said I want to discuss whether we need a constitutional text, whether we need a Bill of Rights as a single document, what sort of structural clauses should be in a constitution, such as should there be separation of powers, should we define electoral terms or elect the franchise, how elections should be run, should it be that specific, should it be anything structural. So there's a whole list of things structural I will ask him, and then procedural. So should the Constitution define how how the Constitution should relate to other law in the country? So that gets to issues of sovereignty. So I'll be asking him whether the Constitution should specify sovereignty, which is an interesting question because you probably heard the barrister Barrett, who I like a lot. I like what he writes. His opinion is that the British Constitution is much more flexible than the United States Constitution. It should stay that way. Parliament is sovereign. That's a position that is challenged by other lawyers as well as political scientists. Should Parliament be sovereign? Should the people be sovereign? Which is how the United States Constitution is framed, although in practice it doesn't quite work out that way. Those are the sorts of questions I'll be talking with Douglas. And to remind you, he is proposing amendments to statutes and new statutes for the next government. So far as I know, I will clarify with him. As far as I know, he is not advising any particular political party, and he's no longer a member of any particular political party. I will ask him to clarify that. But he has a wonderful Substack. He doesn't post that often, but I recommend it to you because of the richness, the practical applicability of what he's writing. He is preparing his readers for government. I don't know what his private audience is for that, what party that might be, or how open he is to advising any particular party that forms the next government. I'm going to ask him all that. And please Add comments down there. Tell me what questions I should be asking Douglas, Carswell, and the others I mentioned. William Clouston, SDP, Laurence Fox, Reclaim. I'm going backwards in order, the order that I revealed them. And then Ben Habib, Advanced UK. You tell me what questions I should be asking them. I've got a list of questions. I haven't shared it with them, but I will add some questions that I hear from my audience. As appropriate, obviously, don't misinterpret what I just said as a promise, like I'm going to ask every question I receive. I'm going to filter them out, and not just because some of them might be inappropriate. Some of them are going to be they're going to be redundant to each other, for instance. But I do want to pose audience questions to every single one of my interviewees. So put your questions in the comments below. Thank you. Okay, so I revealed 4 politicians with whom I will be speaking this month, October. 4 British politicians, 3 party leaders, and the great Douglas Carswell, who would make a great party leader, as I've already said. Now, there could be more. So I'll tell you about plans at this stage. Right, plans. I have invited Reform UK to put up a senior member of their leadership team. I would like to speak to Nigel Farage or Richard Tice or Zia Youssef. I should be speaking with. To remind you, I've already spoken with Richard Tice. On interview for this channel. Richard Tice and I had a great conversation 4 years ago. We talked a lot about economics. I know he has a lot of depth of knowledge and ideas about more than economics, but he is rumored to be preparing himself for a economic job in government. So let's say Chancellor of the Exchequer. I'm not speaking for it. I haven't heard this from him or Reform. It's just, it makes sense, right? So I will be asking him if that is part of his ambition. That sure would make a great Chancellor of the Exchequer. I will ask him, do you want to be that? And if he does, if he wants to focus on economic policy, we will. I've got some questions for him. That would be a great discussion. It'll be our second discussion on this channel with Richard Tice. So there'll be some history there for me to develop his ideas. So just so you know, that's the reason I'm thinking about the gap between what he discussed 4 years ago and now is because his policies might have changed, or the party's policies might have changed a lot in 4 years. So 4 years ago, he was very Thatcherite. And talking about Tice, he was very Thatcherite back then. And the party has, and you can see this in my writings, my analysis of this. You can read this up, so I'm not revealing anything I haven't published already. He is the party. I haven't spoken with Richard Tice. I'm not speaking for Richard Tice. I am not revealing anything about his own changing thoughts, but the party has changed a lot on its economic policy. 4 years ago, it was very Thatcherite. It was all about cutting spending and getting revenues up through deregulating, liberalizing the private sector and cutting the public bloat. The party has shifted in the most recent years. So Party Reform UK has shifted so that it is holding on to some high cost spends, such as it wants to get rid of the cap on two children receiving child benefit in a family. So 2-child cap. Reform UK's current policy is to remove that, and that would be expensive, right? And that is not something we were expecting 4 years ago when I walked away from interviewing Richard Tice. Right, so Richard Tice would be a good interviewee. I think that would be appropriate that I interview him again. I've not heard from Reform UK what their to confirm any interviewee from Reform UK. Reform UK may not agree to any interview. I think that would be a shame, but I'm planning on one. Maybe not this month, but in November. I think it's probable, and I will confirm when I hear. Right, so that was Reform UK. I've also invited, I'll move quicker through these other parties. I've invited a Conservative Party to put up a senior leadership team member. I would particularly like to talk with Robert Jenrick, because he is the Shadow Home Secretary and I focus a lot on security, and I'd like to talk to him about the Conservative Party's likely policies on homeland security, as we call it in America, or domestic security, as we call it in Britain. And I want to hear about this. So Robert Jenrick is a very interesting guy. He's very dynamic, very high communicator. Doesn't please his leader particularly. Well, that's what she pretty much said last week. If you're thinking why I say that, she had an interview, a rare interview, with the Telegraph, I think it was, where she sort of slapped down Robert Jenrick for being too communicative and saying things that she claims she already says. So there is a bit of tension there. And if I get to speak with Robert Jenrick, I would certainly ask him about that. What are his ambitions, his personal ambitions within the party? What is his relationship with Kemi Badenoch? But I think I would like to speak with Kemi Badenoch, by the way. That would be great. Conservative Party, yes, I'm expecting you to listen to this because I keep emailing you and suggesting Kemi Badenoch. Let's do it. But if it's not going to be an interview of a party leader, I would like an interview of the Shadow Home Secretary so we can focus on Home Office portfolio issues on which I specialise. Right, so that's Conservative Party. I have also requested with the Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood. Right, I'm not going to speak to Keir Starmer. That's not a ideological position. I just know realistically that's not going to happen, given he is busy as a prime minister, as he should be, and he's probably not going to like what I've written about him. Not that I've said anything offensive. I've just been righteously and objectively critical of a very bad prime minister. Very bad. Probably the worst. I'm going to say definitely the worst since Tony Blair, which is pretty ironic since Keir Starmer tries to differentiate himself from Tony Blair. But yeah, and probably he doesn't want to speak to me. I don't want to speak to him. Probably. So what I've asked the cabinet member I've asked to speak to is Shabana Mahmood, because she is Home Secretary, the new Home Secretary. She's only been there a couple of weeks, and I want to talk about Home Office issues such as border control, rising crime, her plans to reform immigration. Yes, reform. She denies that she's stolen Reform UK's policy, but she's stolen quite a bit of it. So I want to talk to that. I want to talk to her about the theft, and I want to talk about what she's stolen. So those issues, right? So let's move on from Labour. And then Labour has a splitter party, a spin-off party. Your party, quotes, your party, not, let's put it in quotes, your party, because that's what they called it, which is very awkward when you're saying it and people misinterpret you as saying the party that belongs to you, the person I'm addressing. Very awkward party in every way. Two leaders. I'm definitely going to ask about how that works. two leaders don't seem to get on that well. They had a membership drive by one, and the other repudiated it. They have a website. By the way, they don't have particularly good website, so you cannot contact your party. It's your party. It says the website says it belongs to you, but you cannot contact it. Except, I should say, you're going to join it because they have a joining page, and you can put in your details and you can pay to join it. Otherwise, you cannot contact it. Well, I think that's hilarious because it's your party, and then that's first reason, and then secondly, because the landing page says politics is broken and we're going to fix it and make it more about the people. Okay, well, how about you have some way for the people to communicate with you? I think that's funny, and maybe that's just me. But you put it in the chat. I'm going to remind you we're going to have a comments section. I'm inviting you when you replay this to comment if you think that's funny. If you think I'm just childishly amused on that issue, you can tell me. That's fine. I am often childishly amused by British politics, all politics, but right now, particularly British politics. That's why I'm focusing there. It is both tragic and amusing, and sometimes it's difficult to balance those two very contradictory emotions about British politics. You can either despair or you can laugh, and sometimes we're bouncing between the two. Yeah. So, who have I missed? I intend to speak to somebody within the next 2 months from every major British political party, including splitters like your party. I do not intend to speak with the Green Party. I would happily do that. I just don't know how on earth the Green Party would agree and how that would go. It would be pretty pointless, I think. Maybe I'm being under ambitious here. I tell you what, I'll promise I will contact the Green Party. It's got a new leader, right? So it's in flux. This new leader is not reaching the right way. He's just made stupid comments about blaming the far right, like a lot of people blaming the far right for anti-Semitic terrorism in Britain. So I'm not sure that would go well. But look, I want to interview the leaders of all the parties. I will reach out to the Green Party. I will. Okay. So that's another one on the list. I think it is improbable that I will be speaking to anybody publicly from the Green Party, but I will try. They're an important part of the mix. I acknowledge that. All right. So that's the big reveal. I'm going to remind you what we've got. We've got coming up next week, Ben Habib, Advance UK. And then we'll be doing Laurence Fox, Reclaim. William Clouston, SDP. That's all this month. And sort of like a bonus to go, and the fourth one this month is a bonus. Douglas Carswell will be talking about the Constitution of the United Kingdom and what it can learn from other constitutions, particularly the United States, since he and I are American persons as well as British persons, as I explained earlier. So that's all happening this month. 4 big political interviews this month, October. And then I plan, I shouldn't say I plan because I actually am pessimistic about getting all of the political parties interviewed this year. But I hope, let me rephrase that, say I hope that I can interview the leaders of all the main political parties. Certainly any political party that is represented in Parliament right now, and some splitters, such as your party, remember that's in quotes, your party, which does not have any representation in Parliament, but it has, I would say it's probable that it will have representation in the next Parliament. Well, after the next general election. Yeah, that's another forecast I will throw out there. That's my plans. Remember, now I've revealed who I'm talking to, use the comment section to tell me some questions, suggest to me some questions you think I should ask of those interviewees. Welcome to the cat studio. This room is sometimes my studio. It is also the cat room. And here is a cat, one of 3 cats. And there are some of their toys. So when I'm broadcasting, and it is true when I'm recording, I will not edit out cats. There are cats in my videos because this is really the cat room that I utilize because of its superior acoustics as a studio. So this is the cat studio. On cue, a cat. I'm not going to tell you what that cat is called. In fact, use the comment section to guess what that cat is called. Look at the cat. That would give you a clue. Comment section, really useful. Okay. I will look forward to seeing you when I post these interviews. It's been nice talking to you. I will look forward to your comments. Bye for now.